Alright, so we're going to be doing a project within a project. A couple months ago I bought a new laptop computer. Now it's not charging properly. So I slid this cover off of the prong, and it's pretty evident what's going on here. Let me get a better background and I'll see if I can zoom up on this. And here's what we got on this. So we slip this back, and there's 3 connectors coming out of the charger to the shield. And then inside we've got the blue, which apparently it looks like the blue wire has broken off the center post. So let me do some quick continuity checks on this so we can confirm that. And they tried to dope it in like a hard plastic. I think that's what might have attributed to the failure. We're gonna have to, we'll see what I do about this. And obviously it's not plugged in unless you want to fry this thing. I bet you couldn't get that apart without completely destroying it. Alright, so looks like black goes to the outer shield, white does not. There looks like there's an inner shield. White goes to the inner shield, and the blue, which is broken, goes to the center post. Now what was strange about this failure, if you would call it that, I don't know, so maybe this is negative and then we have a run while you're plugged in on the white, and then the blue is the battery charge positive. So this is like plugged in running positive, and the blue center would be battery charge positive. I don't know, because I would plug this in and the computer would, you know, indicate that it was plugged in, and you know the backlight would come up, all that, but it wouldn't charge the battery. So that's just a hypothesis. I don't really mess with this kind of micro neo electronic garbage too much, but I'm gonna see if we can cut this hard plastic off, resolder all this, and then we're gonna have to come up with some kind of jacket. I was thinking maybe like silicone, I don't know, heat shrink, something. I'm gonna have to come up with something, and then we can slip this back over and keep on rocking and rolling. That's the idea. So we'll bring you back. Alright, so with a combination of a lighter, a razor blade, and a nail clipper, which I actually find to be real handy, not just for fishing, but for electronics too, we've gotten ourselves to this point. And I did pretty good. I just nicked that. I did not break any of the leads inside the strands. And you can see our failure. The blue lead just took a dump on us. There's a little bit closer look of what I nicked. Alright, this is going to be the proof of concept on this before we attempt the repair. I was going to try to get like an alligator clamp or something to hold that on there, but I can't find one. So this is the moment of truth. And what do you know? It works. How stupid is that? I mean, how many chargers and like main boards and shit do you think they sold people when all they had to do was pull the thing apart? Like, I didn't even have to heat that thing up or nothing to get the jacket off to look at this thing. Ridiculous. Okay, so what I decided to do is I'm going to desolder everything. I'm going to come down a little bit on here because these have obviously been overstrained. I'm going to have to be a lot more careful with how I treat this charger. I've got probably about 6-8 inches of leeway before I get to this thing. I don't know what the hell that is, but I'm going to clip these. Some of them aren't looking too healthy. I nicked that, so we're going to clip this back about 1 inch after I desolder everything, and then we're going to move on. Just some advice. I'm real comfortable with the gun. I used to solder you know, XLR jacks and all kinds of stuff with the gun, so I'm real comfortable with it. If you're not, you know, use a pencil. And I'm also going to give this plenty of time to cool down, because like I said, this is a pretty chintzy looking thing, so I don't want to overheat it. Alright, so we got this cleaned up. There actually is a hole for the center post. I was wondering if it was just wrapped or what. Got that how I wanted it. Didn't melt the plastic. Got most of the solder off of there. Alright, micro wire stripper is missing in action. So I'm just going to do it with my fingernails. Look at that. I mean, even like the cheapest telephone wire I could remember as a kid didn't even used to do that. Jeez Louise, stuff's getting cheap. Alright, now then I'm going to tin these. Tin them and trim them. And hook this mother up. Alright, so what I'm thinking I'm going to do is use maybe 3 small pieces of heat shrink on each of the leads. Maybe a piece on the outside, maybe like a piece of electrical tape, because it is going to have to slip back inside of here. So, may or may not. Going to have to see. I don't have any silicone that's acetic acid free, so I'm not going to use that. I bet you I could use like JB Weld maybe. I don't know. I'm going to tin these, and we're going to keep thinking about that. Like I was saying earlier, I used to do a lot of live sound engineering, and whether we were at a venue or on the road, there would usually be a repair that would be needed to, you know, like 1/4-inch jack or XLR cable in the wall on a cord, and I really couldn't wait for a pencil to heat up. I couldn't wait 15 minutes for the pencil gun, so I switched over to the gun. I just got real comfortable using a real gun, big soldering gun, and that's usually what I always use, unless unless I'm doing stuff on a PC board, unless it's like a heat sink or something like that, then I'll use a pencil gun. But most everything else I use the big gun. If you're not comfortable with the big gun, don't use it. You don't have to use it. You don't not have to use it. Alright, we're going for the center post. I think we got that sucker on there pretty good. Pretty good. Alright, let's see if we can do this one without messing up. Nope. Give us some time to cool down. Well, I got it on there, but it's not low enough profile. The wire hopped back up when I lifted up the gun. I mean, that could burn your fingers if you don't do this a lot. Should just be a big blob of solder. Alright, somebody's ringing the doorbell. Let's see who that is. There you go. This is alright. It's on there. Might fine tune it a little bit where it's hanging out. It's a little high right there. A little high right there. I'm going to try to fine tune this a little bit. Still have not melted the plastic. Plastic has not been melted. You can do almost anything with a gun, soldering gun, except for PC boards, circuit boards. You will lift a trace on those mothers if you're using like a 120 watt gun. But if you know what you're doing, you're not going to melt plastic. You will when you're learning, but not after that point. Alright, I got this fine-tuned like I want. See that nice profile? That's how I want it. I got this nice. Now I'm going to... Alright, we're doing the last part. Might try to add a little, just the teeniest bit of solder to that. It's because there's really no provision. There's no provision for a good mechanical connection. There's only a good mechanical connection for the center terminal, not for these outer two. So now that I got that on there, I'm going to just do a little bit of trimming. Fine-tuning the solder, and then I'm going to try and slip, zoom everybody out, I'm going to try and slip a piece just on there before we try to do the big heat up and slide this daddy-o back over top everything. But I'm going to take a pit real quick. We're going to pit stop, test it, and see if everything held. There we go. Now it doesn't look the prettiest. It's a little bit lumpy gravy, but that's really not what matters. Chrome don't get you home. So now for the ultimate test. Alright, that's a wrap. I'm glad that that actually worked. We'll see how long this works. I might post an update video on this, or I might put it in the description. Well, we will see.